This is Plant-Based Briefing, how changing my diet healed my gut and made me a better doctor. And 5 ways to reduce food waste at home by using what you've got, both from forksoverknives.com. And I'm your host, Marian Erickson, and this is the Plant-Based Podcast where I narrate articles to you from a variety of experts with permission on plant-based and vegan topics. Today's posts are from forksoverknives.com. Their website is filled with resources for healthy, whole food, plant-based living, including research, recipes, meal planners, and of course the world-famous documentary Forks Over Knives, which I highly recommend everyone watch. And now let's get to today's plant-based briefing. How Changing My Diet Healed My Gut and Made Me a Better Doctor by Melissa Mondala, MD at forksoverknives.com. I grew up on a standard American diet. I was raised to eat lots of meat and dairy, which I thought I needed for calcium and protein, and a single serving of vegetables and fruits every day. I believed that 1 apple a day would keep the doctor away. In 2010, I was diagnosed with gastroesophageal reflux disease, or GERD, but I didn't make the connection to nutrition. In 2011, I began medical school where, like many of my fellow students, I subsisted on greasy pizzas, hot dogs, and other highly processed junk foods. Worsening GERD and IBS. I'd experienced digestive trouble since I was a teenager, but they worsened over the course of my medical training. I began to have uncontrollable episodes of diarrhea, nausea, and abdominal cramps, and I became less focused and more depressed. It was not uncommon for me to skip social meetups because of stomach cramps and loose stools. Eventually, I was diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome. On top of this, I had horrible acne. There was a long list of medical therapies for my ailments. I tried them all, and none helped. In early 2016, I began to search for the connection between nutrition and health, going through stacks of books and articles, especially about Loma Linda, California, where an unusually high percentage of the local population led healthy, active lives well into their 90s. These were seniors who worked full-time and cycled or even taught fitness classes on the side. Notably, the people of Loma Linda ate mostly plant-based diets. Then I attended the annual American College of Lifestyle Medicine conference and heard lifestyle medicine legends speak about how beneficial plant-based diets can be for a variety of issues, not just longevity. Taking charge with lifestyle changes. I reflected and realized that my diet was the likely culprit behind my IBS and acne. I decided to make the switch to a plant-based lifestyle. I spent a week cleaning out my kitchen and learning how to shop and cook differently. I explored plant-based substitutions to make healthier versions of some favorite foods. I made dishes such as tofu adobo, peanut butter vegetable stew, and cashew cheese lasagna. It was an enjoyable and meaningful time because for the first time I wasn't fearful of my IBS symptoms. I knew if I changed the way I ate, I would minimize the injury to my microbiome. Over the course of a few months, my bloating, loose stools, and GERD resolved. My acne cleared up, and my mood greatly improved. I began walking daily, which further helped my gut issues as well as my mental health. As I became more mindful, I no longer craved ultra-processed foods, and my performance at work improved too. It's been nearly 5 years, and I'm thriving on a plant-based diet. Since making the switch, my mission in medicine has evolved. I now tell my story to patients and educate them about the power of plants, and many have improved their blood sugar and cholesterol levels by eating this way. Through my personal journey as well as my clinical experience, I deeply understand the impact that daily habits have on health. 5 ways to reduce food waste at home by using what you've got. By Mary Margaret Chappell at forksoverknives.com. Americans waste 150,000 tons of food a day, almost 1 pound per person, according to a study published last April. What's more, the biggest food wasters aren't people with poor eating habits. Instead, researchers found that households with healthy diets were the worst offenders because fruits and vegetables are the foods that most often get thrown out. That waste isn't just bad for the environment, it's bad for your food costs as well. We asked Tony Okamoto, founder of the Plant-Based on a Budget website and author of the recent cookbook with the same name, how to reduce food waste in a whole food plant-based kitchen by using what you have. Here are her top tips so you can cut down on what you throw out and make the most of the delicious foods that are already in your kitchen. 1. Keep a list. I have a magnetic dry erase board on my refrigerator where I keep a list of things that need to be eaten first. It helps me know what I have in the fridge and use up the older items sooner than what I've just bought. Leftovers also go on the list so that they don't get pushed to the back and forgotten. 2. Add leftovers to catch-all recipes. Curries and chilies are all easy, inexpensive dishes that can be adapted to what you have on hand. You can throw so many things into them, then the slow cooking allows all the flavors to meld. I've come up with some interesting dishes just by making curries and chilies with what I have. One time I even threw a banana into a chili with sweet potatoes, quinoa, and cinnamon. I also do a lot of stir-fries and bowls. Bowls are especially easy to build with what you have because you just start with a grain, add beans or tofu, use whatever vegetables you have, then pull it all together with some type of sauce. 3. Make broth with vegetable scraps. I like to cut up leftover vegetable bits like carrot ends, potato peels, and any weird pieces of produce that might have gotten left in the fridge, put them in a freezer box, and then use them to make a rich, homemade vegetable broth when the box is full. Vegetable broth only takes minutes to prepare in a pressure cooker or Instant Pot, and you can use it all week long in other recipes. 4. Have a few basics on hand. I always have pantry staples like canned beans and tomatoes that can be used in lots of different ways to quickly make a meal. Condiments are also a big help when throwing together meals. I keep soy sauce, hot sauce, and a salad dressing on hand at all times so I can use them to flavor whatever I'm making. And number 5, know how to improvise. One thing I learned while cooking on a budget, and one thing I really want for my readers, is to feel comfortable making recipes based on what they have in their pantry. For example, when a recipe calls for kale, you should feel empowered to use whatever greens you have, instead of making a special trip to the store for kale. Most greens are interchangeable in recipes. Any color of bell pepper is fine when bell pepper is called for. Any member of the onion family, onions, leeks, shallots, etc., will work for another, and so on. You just listened to How Changing My Diet Healed My Gut and Made Me a Better Doctor by Melissa Mondala, MD, and 5 Ways to Reduce Food Waste at Home by Using What You've Got by Mary Margaret Chappell, both at forksOverKnives.com. And I'm your host, Marian Erickson. Thanks for listening.